Acres. I'm Sherry, and I wanted to share a special recipe with you today. One of the things I talk about in my ebook is talking to people of generations past, people who are your elders. They have a lot of wisdom and interesting things, interesting stories and recipes to share. This is one of those. Our friend Roger has a recipe he calls Super Tonic, and he claims that a dropperful of this Super Tonic will cure a cold, just like that. So I asked him for the recipe and I wrote it down, and we're going to try that. Now, if you look behind me, there are the ingredients. It calls for 1 gallon of, he calls it mother vinegar, which is apple cider vinegar. And you look on the label and it says contains the mother. The mother is the cloudy like stuff on the bottom that looks like dirt. If I remember right, I think you can make more vinegar using that. But anyway, it calls for the gallon of vinegar, and then a pound each of the 5 herbs, he says, which are white onion, ginger root, horseradish, garlic, and yes, you guessed right, these are habaneros. Now when I wrote down the recipe, I wrote everything down, didn't really think much of it, and then when I went to the store and looked at the habaneros, I'm like, whoa, hold the phone. 1 pound of habaneros. So I went back to Roger and I said, Roger, these habaneros, they're pretty potent. Are you sure you meant to say 1 pound of habaneros? And he says, oh yes. So 1 pound of habaneros it is. Everything is a pound. So what we do is chop up all the 5 herbs and put them in a crock or a glass container like this, and put the vinegar in there with it, and you let it sit for 2 weeks. He says stir it a couple times a day, and like when you walk past it, give it a little stir. So do that for 2 weeks, and when it's done, you strain the liquid out and separate, put it in jars or whatever, but you save the bits of the herbs. He says don't throw that out. You spread it out on a pan or a cookie sheet or something and let it dry. So you have all these bits of the stuff ground up dried now. And he says you grind that up in your food processor or blender and put it in a container that has like a seasoning container where you can sprinkle it. He says that'll be food seasoning. It'll pep up any dish. So there's no waste here. You use the whole thing. The dosing for the tonic is, he says, a dropperful. And I looked at several different eyedroppers, and it looks like most of those are 1/2 teaspoon. So the dose is about 1/2 teaspoon of the tonic when you feel like you're getting a cold, and it's supposed to make the cold just stop in its tracks. I don't know if this works for other illnesses too. He said that he would send that tonic with the kids, when they go off to college, and they would be the healthiest out of all of their classmates because they were using the tonic. So we're going to try this out and probably share some of it because it makes a lot, and we'll test it out and see if it works. But for starters, we're going to do some chopping. Now beware, with the hot peppers especially, you want to wear gloves and maybe even goggles and a face mask because it's pretty potent when you get that stuff chopped up. So be very, very careful. You could be crying to the point where you can't open your eyes because it's so hot. So I'm gonna get started with this and we'll see what happens. Through the onion and the horseradish, and my eyes are burning so bad I can hardly open them, so I'm gonna look for some goggles or something. I haven't wiped my eyes with my hands or anything, but just the vapors of those things, whoo, it burns, so be careful. is the tonic after sitting for 1 week. And most of the bits of stuff have settled down to the bottom. And then there's this kind of a layer of a film in there and then vinegar on the top. And it smells very strong of all that stuff that's in there. Especially when I take the lid off and stir it. Everybody gets mad because it stinks up the house. So anyway, that's 1 week, and we'll be back in another week to finish it up. Okay, 2 weeks have passed and the tonic is done, and this is what it looks like. Looks a little bit separated. You can see the vinegar on the top and all the chopped up bits down below. So what we need to do is separate it. We're going to strain all the stuff out of it and put the liquid, the tonic, into jars or containers, whatever I can find. Here we go. So I put all of the bits onto parchment paper and put that on cookie sheets, and I had them sitting in the kitchen, and our entire house smells like this. We can hardly stand it in there, so I moved it out to the garage. Our eyes are burning, we're coughing every so often. I feel like I'm gonna sneeze, and the smell is just so strong in there. I think we'd probably have it stuck to us on our clothes and stuff. So I moved everything out to the garage. I just put it on a big table. Yes, that's 5 large cookie sheets full of this stuff. Seems like a bit too much to me, but I don't know. I guess we'll see what it looks like when it's dried. Okay, now time for a taste test. I'm gonna have my husband Bob.
Hello.
Taste this for me. So come over here. And this is a little bit that we couldn't fit into the jars. And if you look over here, it kind of settles in the bottom. So you kind of have to shake it before you use it. And this little bit we kind of swirled around here. And this is the eyedropper we're going to use. It holds about a half a teaspoon. So there you go, Bob.
How much am I?
Just kind of squeeze it and let go.
But how much? Up to here or up to there?
However much goes in with a squeeze is about a half a teaspoon. Yeah. And you put it under your tongue and then swallow it. What do you think?
Well, it is pretty hot.
Compared to jalapeno or something.
To jalapeno, I would say it's pretty comparable.
Because it's got habaneros in it.
Yeah.
So is it as hot as a habanero? Because you've had one of those before.
I don't think it's quite that hot. Maybe the other ingredients take down the hot a little bit. So probably about a habanero or a jalapeno.
Okay.
So it's not too terribly bad, and I don't know how long it's gonna last, but
Does that have a strong taste?
it's got a strong taste. But if it works, great.
How do you compare it to cough medicine? Because I know you hate cough medicine.
I would rather take this than cough medicine.
So, there you have it. Go try some Super Tonic and make it and endure the smell of it and the burning of your eyes. We've all been choking over it over here, so beware of that. You'll need to light some candles and things like we did. So, I guess that's it for now. Stay healthy. Bye.
Bye.